Hello and welcome to this special episode of the Full of Football podcast. I'm Austin Thomas.
And I'm Connor Lewick.
And today we are going to be taking a look at the Super Bowl game an hour prior to the game. So this is our Super Bowl pre-game special.
Yep.
So we will have the time remaining until the game begins on the bottom of your screen. So make sure to pay attention to that. Grab some snacks while you still can, and hopefully you guys are going to enjoy yourself tonight after
The Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Or if you're a Bucs fan, if the Bucs win the Super Bowl.
They won't. Let's get going.
If they do.
Let's get going.
All right, so let's just get started right into this roster lookup. We're going to be looking at Buccaneers roster and some of the statistics. Then we're going to be looking at the Chiefs roster, some of their statistics. And finally, we'll get on into some of our predictions and betting odds and matchups like that. So without further ado, let's get on to the NFC representative, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they have had a great season.
I wouldn't say great.
They have had a great season.
11-5. You don't even win your division.
But they're making it to the Super Bowl.
Not a great season, but you made the Super Bowl.
And they have had plenty of very good games, too.
And very bad games.
They have. You're right.
A lot.
But only 5 at most.
It's more than the other team.
All right. Well, I would say let's get on into some of the injuries. So for the Buccaneers, last week they were missing Antonio Brown and Antoine Winfield, who are both going to be in tonight, along with Jordan Whitehead, who exited the game late last game for concussion protocol, I believe. He is going to be back into the game. So nobody who wasn't on IR or wasn't already out last week is going to be missing from the game tonight. So the Buccaneers looking clean on the injury report. And so with that, let's talk about the roster. So first off, Tom Brady, their leading passer, 4,633 yards, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions throughout the season.
MVP. I'm joking.
He did have a great season, but how much of that was his receivers? How much of that was Tom Brady?
A lot. A lot was his receivers. You put Blaine Gabbert in. I mean, look at it. Jameis Winston threw 30 touchdowns. Sure, he threw 30 interceptions, but his receivers made him throw 30 touchdowns. That's absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm. And it's been a pretty good season, I would say, even for having Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he didn't have some of the greatest throws, he didn't have some of the greatest reads, and he definitely looks like he's showing his age, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he had a pretty dang good season. I mean, 4,600 yards and 40 touchdowns. You can't complain about that. I mean, yes, you might have had 12 interceptions, but you can't complain about that stat line.
You can't.
Even if you don't believe Tom Brady is good, that's still a good stat line, and you're happy with that.
Yeah.
So to the quarterback depth, you have Tom Brady, who has shown that he is still a top caliber player.
Yep.
And behind him, you have Blaine Gabbert, just in case Tom Brady does get injured.
Congratulations, Missouri! You finally had a quarterback make it to the Super Bowl after all these years of being mediocre. Wasting five-star talents, college careers, you had a quarterback go to the Super Bowl, and he's a backup. So,
but hey, you made it. So with the quarterbacks out of the way, let's get going on into the running back situations here. So the lead running back throughout the season has been Ronald Jones, who rushed for 978 yards, 7 touchdowns on 192 attempts. But recently, it has not been Ronald Jones who has been getting the carries.
Nope.
It has been Leonard Fournette.
Fourth overall pick.
He's shown that he was worth that pick. Well, maybe not. Maybe
No,
not
I would
worth
not
it.
say worth it.
But he has been very good.
Yes.
And in the playoffs, I believe he's gotten 3 touchdowns and about 300 yards.
I think so.
In just those 2 or 3 games that they've played. So very impressive stuff from Leonard Fournette. And he's gotten involved in the passing game too.
He does.
And it's definitely a great sight to see for the Bucs and their fans. Leonard Fournette looking to be a big factor in this game.
Yep.
And Ronald Jones is going to be a good backup option.
Yeah, we'd probably say so. I mean,
I would say he's a good backup. I wouldn't say he's a great starter.
no, he's not.
I don't think either of them are great starters.
Ronald Jones barely a starter. So,
Yeah. So I think the running game is something that will be important
Yes.
to the Bucs.
Yes.
And they'll have to watch and see which of those guys is going to get hot.
Yes.
And so with the running backs, let's get to some of these receivers. So the wide receiver groups, leading them in receiving yards, you had Mike Evans, who had 1,006 receiving yards, 13 touchdowns on 70 receptions. 70 receptions, that's not too many throughout the season, but he still surpassed 1,000 yards and still got 13 touchdowns, which is all you need from a wide receiver.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's wide receiver 1, and he's got some solid backups behind him, and they're taking some receptions from him. He still put up 1,000 yards. I mean, it's pretty solid.
Yes, very, very good target for Tom Brady there this season, and he's gotten a lot of touchdowns, and he's going to be a very good red zone option for the Buccaneers whenever they get down there, because they will, because this is the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
Whoa.
Hey, I'm not saying they're great. I'm not saying they're bad.
The same Kansas City Chiefs defense that let one of the best offense in the NFL only score 24.
Mm-hmm. You're right. And I'm not saying they're bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you look at their receiver groups, there's almost a 0% chance that they don't do at least okay. They will get to the red zone.
Yes,
they will get to the red zone.
Kansas City Chiefs defense is also going to do pretty good. They're gonna prove some doubters wrong.
I think you could definitely think that.
That's all I really got.
But definitely going to be looking for Mike Evans. But besides Mike Evans, behind him at wide receiver 2, you have Chris Godwin, who has also been very good.
You know, see him leaving in free agency.
I could, which is very important for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win this year, because if they don't, I mean, they could be losing some guys.
Yeah.
You're looking at a lot of these guys leaving. Is Antonio Brown
he's on a 1 year too?
He's on a 1 year?
Yeah.
Okay. So their big 3 of wide receivers, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, some of them might not be here next year.
Yeah.
But right now, we're not talking about next year. We're talking about the Super Bowl.
Right now.
The Super Bowl is all that matters.
Yep, that's all that matters.
When you're these 2 teams, all you got to do is win one game. One game brings you that trophy.
It's only one game, but it's the biggest game of your life.
It is, unless you're Tom Brady.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. I mean, it's Tom Brady.
And maybe even Patrick Mahomes too. But I mean, I don't know. Would you say this is a bigger game for Mahomes than it was last year?
100%. You're beating the GOAT. You're beating somebody who every NFL player realizes that is one of the most statistically greatest quarterback of all time. You have a chance to beat him in the Super Bowl after he knocked you out of the playoffs 2 years ago. Take this opportunity and run with it.
100%, and that I think could flare up the Chiefs.
Oh yeah, it would
definitely make them want to win this. But the rest of the receiver core at wide receiver 4, you got Scotty Miller, who
Mr. Faster than Tyreek Hill
is pretty good. I don't know if he's quick.
That's what
he is quick. He's very quick.
I'm just saying what he said.
I know, and he's got some speed and he's got some ability, but you got to make sure that you're going to watch out for him. He is only the 4th receiver, but he could be a dangerous 4th receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And back behind him at wide receiver 5, you have Tyler Johnson, who hasn't been too much of a important factor to the Bucs this year, but he is there just in case they need him. So with the receivers done, let's get into the tight ends. The tight end group, you have 2 guys who are
very disappointing.
Very disappointing, yes. And so first off, you have Rob Gronkowski, who is a Hall of Famer, undoubtedly a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean maybe. I mean, he's kind of been carried by Tom Brady to some Super Bowls, but
he's put up stats, and he's been a good option for Tom Brady to throw to up until this year. Rob Gronkowski hasn't done great this year, but he's still Rob Gronkowski, and you can't count him out.
Yeah.
But behind him you have Cameron Brate. Cameron Brate has also been disappointing. He hasn't been,
especially whenever you pick him as your breakout player every week.
Well, who do you want me to pick, Rob?
Kelsey.
I'm not gonna pick Kelsey. I'm sorry.
Oh man. I mean, he's not breaking out though. Kelsey kind of had a breakout last week. He exceeded expectations.
Did he? What did he get?
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns and what, 100?
100 and something yards.
So. I thought it was like 103, which isn't. I wouldn't count that as a. It's good. It's not a breakout. But okay. With that, let's get on into the offensive line here. Offensive line, possibly one of the best in football.
Yes.
If you look at it, you've got left tackle is Donovan Smith. Your left guard is one of the greatest, Ali Marpet at guard. He has been stellar.
Yeah.
At center, you have another great guy, Ryan Jensen. At right guard, you have somebody filling in. Aaron Stinney, he's done his job.
Yes.
He's done his job.
That's all that matters.
And that's what you got to do on the O-line. And then finally, you have possibly the best rookie offensive lineman from this year's class, Tristan Wirfs.
Yes.
He has been very good for this this Buccaneers team, and he's going to be something to watch out for. And this offensive line, it's going to be hard to attack.
Yeah.
I don't know how good the Chiefs are going to do it. We'll have to see later on. But Tristan Wirfs, a big part of this offensive line. So let's get on into the defensive side. Leading the team in tackles, you had Devin White with 140 tackles, 9 sacks, and a forced fumble. He is
pretty good for a rookie.
Is he a rookie? No, he's a second year.
Oh, shoot.
He's a second year.
I was thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. And then you also have Jason
year,
Pierre-Paul. 9.5 sacks on the season, 4 forced fumbles.
He is their only Pro Bowler.
He is also, yes, their only Pro Bowler. So at left outside linebacker, you got Jason Pierre-Paul. At middle linebacker, you have Devin White. And then you also have Levante David.
Very good linebacker core.
Very good, and that is scary to be going up against. Yeah. And not only that, at right outside linebacker, you got Shaq Barrett. You have a 4-headed monster there in the linebacking core. You have to be attacking this Chiefs offense if you want to win.
If you're the Buccaneers, if you lose this game, is this a disappointing season? Look at your team. On paper, it could be one of the greatest of all times. You go 11-5. Sure, it's not the best record. You make it to the Super Bowl. If you lose, is it a disappointment?
I would say no, because winning the Super Bowl is always very tough. So many things can happen, especially in this year of COVID. Anything can happen, and so I don't think it's too surprising to say if they lose, because the Kansas City Chiefs also have possibly one of the greatest teams of all time, along with them. So I don't think either of these teams are going to have a disappointing season. But on to the rest of the defense, you have a left end, Ndamukong Suh. I always have trouble pronouncing that name.
Ndamukong Suh.
And he is an old man, but he has been lighting up offenses.
Here's your fun fact of the day. The Buccaneers defense have 3 players from the University of Nebraska: Ndamukong Suh, Levante David, and Khalil Davis. That's all I have. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and then at defensive tackle you have Vita Vea, and then at right end William Golston. So again, more great defensive players. I don't know about William Golston, but he's all right. And then let's get on into the leading interceptioner of the year for the Buccaneers. You have Carlton Davis.
That was Davis.
Davis Bertans, you know? Carlton. Okay, you know what? Carlton Davis, 4 interceptions, 18 passes defended throughout the season. Very good corner for the team, along with Sean Murphy-Bunting and Jumel Dean, a great cornerback core there. But not only that, you have Antoine Winfield, who has been one of the best rookies of all this year at free safety. And then at strong safety, you have Jordan Whitehead, who hasn't been bad either. And with that, that's going to close out the roster. So let's get on into some of the team statistics. You had 298.5 passing yards per game, which was 4th in the league. But you only had 94.9 rushing yards per game. That was 28th in the league. Not great showing on the ground for the Bucs, but pretty dang good through the air. They averaged 30.8 points per game, which ended up being 3rd in the NFL. So great scoring, even though they might not necessarily have had the best offense. They had 7th best offense with 384.1 yards per game. So definitely good team effort there, but they'll have to keep that up if they want to match up the Chiefs. On defense, 269.4 passing yards allowed per game. Not great, 23rd in the league. But what is great, 80.6 rushing yards allowed per game, which is 1st in the NFL.
Yeah.
Absolutely stellar in stopping the run.
Yes.
Almost undoubtedly the league's best run defense.
It's the first.
And then overall, their defense was 6th in the league, ending with 327.1 yards allowed per game. So great showing there from the Buccaneers. Their special teams, they had kicker Ryan Suckup, who has been pretty good throughout the season. Hasn't missed too many field goals, hasn't missed too many extra points. He's definitely someone they can rely on, but the Super Bowl is always different. Field goal percentages are always going to be lower. And then their punter, Bradley Pinion. He's been okay throughout the season. I mean, you're not really going to be punting too much with the Buccaneers offense. you're mostly going to be kicking field goals or getting touchdowns and extra points. But still, Bradley Pinion, in the times that he has gotten, he's been pretty good. Finally, you have the kick returner and punt returner, Jayden Mickens, who had a very good return last game that kind of shut the Packers down and kind of took them. And so there was a big part in the game, and the Bucs ended up winning that game 31-26 over the Packers.
Now, representing the AFC, the American Football Conference, the Kansas City Chiefs. They won the Lamar Hunt Trophy. Their founder's name is on that trophy, and they are here to go run it back. And we're going to start with the injury report. We got some players that are in. Demarcus Robinson and Daniel Kilgore, who came in contact with somebody who tested positive for COVID, but I believe they tested negative, so they're in. L'Jarius Sneed, who's coming back from a concussion protocol. Huge gain for the Chiefs. He's a stellar rookie corner. Sammy Watkins is coming back, very reliable, and Le'Veon Bell is in. He's a very solid backup.
Mm-hmm. Very important to have that good backup running game.
But out is rookie Willie Gay. He was a third-rounder out of Mississippi State. He was very solid.
I thought he was a second-rounder.
Oh, he was.
Yeah, he was a second-rounder.
Okay,
but it was basically a third-round
because he was 32nd. And then Eric Fisher, Pro Bowler, is out for Kansas City, too, and that's just a huge loss with the season he's had. Was alright. It was alright.
It was good enough for a Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl doesn't mean anything. It's a fan vote.
Was it this year?
I think it usually is, yeah.
Well, I don't remember voting, so maybe I just missed something.
You just missed it. Quarterback room for the Kansas City Chiefs. Best quarterback in the NFL, Patrick Mahomes. Best backup in the NFL, Chad Henne. I wouldn't say that. It's just what he did against the Browns. Mahomes was a Pro Bowler this year. He had 4,740 yards, 38 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He didn't have a stellar year, but second in MVP probably. The running back room, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they picked up Le'Veon Bell throughout the season, and then Darrell Williams, who's been a solid second back, third back when they need him. Clyde, best running back there with 803 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 181 attempts. Would have wanted more touchdowns, but hey, passed.
Definitely.
It's the Chiefs, they passed.
Yeah, they passed the ball. That's all you need.
Here in the tight end room, we got Travis Kelce, best tight end in the NFL. He was a Pro Bowler this year. He led the receiving group with 1,416 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 105 receptions.
Stellar year from Travis Kelce,
Beautiful.
And he's going to be important in this game.
Oh, yeah. Wide receivers, you have Tyreek Hill, Pro Bowler. Could have guessed that. Sammy Watkins, McCole Hardman, Demarcus Robinson, and Byron Pringle, all very reliable. It's insane how they can have 5 receivers who are always going to be able to get targeted.
They're always going to get yards, too.
Yes.
Always going to help you get to that end zone.
They're all fast. Offensive line has been very interesting throughout the season for Kansas City. Injuries, they have 3 out of their 5 original starters are out.
Definitely a lot of injuries are the problem here, especially Mitchell Schwartz.
Yeah, that's
that
huge
was
loss.
Huge hit earlier.
But at left tackle, we got Mike Remmers, left guard, Nick Allegretti. Center, we have Austin Ryder, right guard, Steven Wisniewski, and right tackle, Andrew Wiley. They're very reliable. Kansas, they're going to have the best game of their lives here. And I believe this is the free safeties. We're going to have Daniel Sorensen and Juan Thornhill. Juan Thornhill being a second-year player. Daniel Sorensen, he's been in the league a while, and he's been very solid for the Chiefs. He had 91 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 5 pass deflects. He always gets these game-ending interceptions that just come up huge.
Or huge fumbles, you know?
Yes. But we, at defensive tackle, we have Chris Jones, who was a Pro Bowler, and Derek Nottie. Right end, Frank Clark, who was also a Pro Bowler. And left end, Tano Capassignon, I believe that's...
Passignon? I think so.
Passignon. Chris Jones had the best one of them all. 7.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Kind of a down year for Chris Jones, but it's fine because they made the Super Bowl.
And he's still good. So
yes. The linebacker core is a little weak.
Ooh, not great.
A little weak. They're missing Willie Gay, but middle linebacker Anthony Hitchens, left outside Darius Harris, right outside Damian Wilson. they're going to be very reliable, and they're going to have to play a key role in the Chiefs winning.
I don't know if I would say reliable, but they're going to have to play a key role if they want to help stop that Bucs offense.
And then at strong safety, a Pro Bowler again, Tyrann Mathieu.
Seventh Pro Bowler?
I believe
I think seven. Seven or six.
Something like that. He had 6 interceptions, a touchdown, and 9 pass deflects. Very huge again in the game against the Browns, but he did very well. I mean, he's one of the best safeties in the NFL, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cornerback room, a little thin, but I'd say it's a very reliable one. We have L'Jarius Sneed, Bashad Breeland, Travarius Ward, and Rashad Fenton. All very tough names, as you can tell.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure I would say it's thin. They have a lot of depth, but they're all similarly talented.
Yeah, I would say they're a little thin lining up against the Buccaneers.
Compared to the Buccaneers, I would say yes, they definitely are thin, but I would say that they have good depth.
Yes. Now we're done with the roster. Let's get into the statistics. The Chiefs had 312.8 pass yards per game, which was first in the NFL. Beautiful display. Rushing yards, 112.4. Very good. 16th, top half of the NFL. They averaged 29.6 points per game, which was 6th in the NFL, which is still very good. I mean, top 10. They had the number 1 offense in the NFL, even though everyone said it was the Packers. Well, who's in the Super Bowl?
And who had 415.8 yards per game? I mean, right?
Where does it say that? I'm looking.
First offense.
415.8 yards per game. I was looking for it. I was struggling. I mean, Chiefs, very solid on offense. Defense, very surprisingly, they only allowed 248 pass yards per game.
Not bad.
That's pretty good if you ask me. It's 16th. Rushing, on the other hand, was very rough. I mean, they allowed 122.1 rush yards per game, which was 21st. Bills didn't take advantage of that. Neither did the high-power Browns. With their dual threat running backs, they should have ran all over Kansas City.
But it's still going to be a huge part here because the Buccaneers are known for their run defense, where the Chiefs are definitely not. So that's
they had
big,
the 16th
big storyline.
Defense, 358.3 yards per game average, which was it's pretty solid. I mean, they're getting more yards and more points than them. In their last game, they won 38-24 over the Bills, which I would say was the 3rd best team in the NFL.
Probably.
And they beat them by 14, which was 2 scores. I mean, that's really solid. Now Austin's favorite part, kickers and punters.
Yes,
kickers,
sir.
Harrison Butker. It's not like it doesn't feel like it's a Chiefs game without Harrison Butker missing an extra point.
Which he didn't last game.
Which was very surprising, but...
So, I mean, if he can carry that over, but he has some good power in his kick, so he can kick from far away, which might be very big if they ever do end up stalling out against the Buccaneers, who have one of the best defenses in the league.
And then punter, Tommy Townsend, first-year starter for Kansas City, and he's been pretty reliable, and he's had some very good kicks, and kick returner, punt returner, McCole Hardman and Byron Pringle. Tyreek Hill doesn't really return anymore. He's more
Although he is top of the depth chart.
Really?
Yeah.
He's more of a wide receiver now, but I'd put Hardman and Pringle. Pringle does it whenever Hardman muffs a punt, but then Hardman comes back and scores a touchdown. Andy Reid is just very beautiful with mastering those. But yeah, that's all we have from the Kansas City Chiefs.
So let's get on into the matchup of the night. What do we think is going to happen in the Super Bowl? So first matchup, we have the Bucs on offense, Chiefs on defense. You have Mike Evans versus L'Jarius Sneed.
I'm taking L'Jarius Sneed. I feel like he's going to be able to shut down Mike Evans. Some other cornerback matchups might not go so well, but I feel like unless it's they're at the 1-yard line, they throw a fade to Evans, I think L'Jarius is going to do a very good job of being able to stop Mike Evans.
All right. And now, let's get on into the next one. Chris Godwin versus Bashad Breeland. I'm going Godwin on this one.
Yeah, I feel like Godwin's going to be able to do pretty well against Breeland. I feel like Breeland can make some plays, but I feel like Godwin will outplay him. But I wouldn't be surprised if Breeland does end up winning this. So
I also wouldn't be surprised if I ended up seeing Sneed switch over to Godwin.
That would make more sense because Breeland's a little taller than Sneed.
I could definitely see that, and it might not only be good to as a matchup, but it might also be a good change of pace if
Yes.
one of them ever gets going.
Yes.
Because you can't let one of them get going, and that's
you
something that the Packers learned the hard way
Yes.
last game. So hopefully the Chiefs watch that game and will learn their lesson,
Yeah.
and we might see a little bit there. But on to the third matchup for the Bucks on offense, Chiefs on defense. You have Antonio Brown versus Charvarius
I'm
Ward.
taking Ward.
I could definitely see this going either way, but I'm going Antonio Brown on this one.
I think Antonio Brown he isn't going to be able to do what he's been doing. I think that injury is going to slow him down. And I feel like Charvarius Ward is going to prove that he can be a top 3 corner on this team. And he is right now, but I think if he does stop Antonio Brown, he'll move up.
Ooh, I wouldn't say he's going to move up over Breland or...
Maybe Breland, not Snead.
Definitely not Snead, but...
Chiefs fans are really high on Snead, and boy...
I'm still going to take Antonio Brown here. Antonio Brown, I think he is a great player. He has huge off-field problems. Don't get me wrong on that. But
horrible person,
he's
great player.
He is a good player. And I think he's going to get the best of Charvarius Ward here, especially with the other two guys going to be the main focus on the game. So let's get on into Chiefs on offense, Bucks on defense. Tyreek Hill versus Carlton Davis. Tyreek Hill. No difference.
There's no doubt. I mean, do you not see what he did last time he played
last
against
time
Davis?
he just... Whew,
There's
whew.
no way they put Davis back on him. And if they do, it's a huge mistake because of what happened last time.
Well, I don't know if they have any other choice.
Bruce Arians, I want to say it, he's not a good head coach.
Yeah, he's not good, but he's not bad. I'm going to say he's not bad.
He's more mediocre.
Okay.
Next matchup, we got Sammy Watkins versus Murphy Bunting.
Sean Murphy Bunting. Ooh, I'm going to go Sean Murphy Bunting here.
I think Watkins is going to come out of this injury stronger and better than ever. But
I
think Murphy Bunting's going to do a better job than the rest of the corners. I don't think Mahomes is going to throw a pick to him, but I think he's going to do a really good job.
I don't know. Sean Murphy Bunting has 3 picks in the last 3 games. Pick it every game.
Yeah, well, he's facing the best quarterback in the NFL.
You never know. But finally, on to the last matchup, we got McCole Hardman versus Jumel Dean. This is a tough one, but
I'm taking Hardman.
I'm going Hardman too.
He's really fast, and Jumel Dean is just he's kind of like a random wide cornerback.
Honestly, no. He has been good in his career. But with McCole Hardman being fast and with having Patrick Mahomes thrown to him, that's the only reason.
Exactly.
So with that, let's get on into some of the betting odds. The over-under on the matchup right now is 56.5. Are you taking the over or are you taking the under?
I'm taking the over. There is absolutely no way the Chiefs do not score more than 28 points. And I'm confident about that.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say it's going to be under. The Chiefs and the Bucks, they're supposed to be high scoring, but I think one of the defenses is going to show out today. Whether it be the Bucks defense slowing down the Chiefs offense, or whether it be the Chiefs defense slowing down the Bucks offense, I think somebody is going to get slowed down, and it's not going to be over 56.5, so I'm going with the under. And with that, let's get on into the spread. The spread right now, Tampa Bay +3. I'm going to go Chiefs here. Chiefs -3. Chiefs have just shown that they are the best team in the NFL. Last week, they definitely showed that. And I definitely feel like Chiefs are going to show that again this week against Tom Brady, and they're going to want some revenge from 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to take it away. I feel like they have a really good shot.
All right, so now on to our final score predictions. What do you think the final score is going to be?
I'm going to go Chiefs 45. We'll go Buccaneers 24. I think Chiefs are going to run away with this game in the first. We'll go second, third quarter, and then after that, it's just Tom Brady. He's like so unmotivated. The Chiefs are just going to win by 21 points.
Ooh, yeah, I'm not going to go with that. My final score prediction is going to be 31-22. An odd score there, I know.
It's weird.
But 31-22 is what I think is going to be the final score.
Who's winning?
I think the Chiefs are going to end up winning this one.
Okay.
Chiefs are going to win it. They have something that the Bucs don't.
And that's Patrick Mahomes.
And it's Patrick Mahomes. So there's not too much arguing about that. And so there are a lot of predictions. A lot of you can choose what you want. Honestly, I would say don't bet on this game. There is so much that can change here.
Yeah.
And especially with this being so close, it's really a 50-50 shot on any of the bets you're going to be making. So this is not one of those games that I would be betting on unless you know something that we don't.
Unless you work for the NFL and know that the NFL is going to rig it for.
Like it's scripted.
Yeah.
All right. And,
Scripted. Yep. Dak Prescott reading that he has to get his ankle absolutely blown.
Oh, and here we go. That is 30 minutes until the Super Bowl. So you guys, you have 30 minutes until the big game is on. So make sure, go grab some snacks, go grab some drinks, get ready for the big game, have some fun with your friends and family.
Say the game takes around 3 hours. It'll be 3 hours and 30 minutes until the Kansas City Chiefs are crowned back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
And I can agree with that. So we thank you for watching tonight's pregame show, and we cannot wait to see the results of this game. And our next episode is going to be a huge episode, the off-season special. It's going to take a while to record, it's going to take a while to edit, but we're going to be having a fantasy draft, a rookie mock draft, free agency destinations, trade rumors, news, injuries, everything you can think of. It's going to be huge. So make sure to tune into that. It's going to be coming out whenever we can get it out, as soon as we can. It's going to take a while.
It'll take a while.
But we will definitely get that out to you. So stay tuned for that. And thank you for watching tonight. And make sure to enjoy the Super Bowl. Peace!